Hey Pre-Calc, this is video 2, section 1.6, lesson 2. So I feel pretty confident that that first video could just act as a standalone and pretty much explains everything I wanted to. However, it doesn't hurt to practice with some examples where you might be scratching your head, specifically with number 43 because it's not even comparing it to 0. So what should our approach be in those situations? Our approach should probably be to get 0 by itself. Yeah. So this fraction, remember, order of operations states that this division holds. Multiply or divide comes before subtraction. So just make sure that you have that 2 completely separate. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the 2 over 1. And I am going to find a common denominator. All right, so let's see if I can find that green marker. Yeah. 2x minus 3 on the bottom, 2x minus 3 on top. We want the denominator 2x3 to be for both. That gives us one fraction with the 2x minus 3 on the bottom. The top's going to be x plus 1. And then what you need to make sure you're doing is taking that negative 2 and multiplying it by both parts. So that's negative 4x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. That's a big time error alert. Not distributing the negative to the other spot. Big time no-no. So it's greater than 0. Once you simplify the top, 1x minus 4x is negative 3x. 1 plus 6 is 7. Hey, now we've got one fraction compared to 0. We can solve that thing. So why don't you guys pause the video, try to just do the rest on your own. Okay, let's see what you got. You want a critical number for the numerator, so I'll just start up here. So the numerator critical number, it has a greater than, so we're going to keep parentheses with it. You take negative 3x plus 7, you set it equal to 0. I can add 3x to get rid of this negative, and then divide by 3. So this is 7/3. Keep in mind that it's 2 1/3. Usually textbooks will just say, hey, let's keep fractions instead of turning them into mixed numbers because they work better with calculations in terms of plugging into different spots. So 7/3, 2 1/3. Second critical number is the 2x minus 3. So we've got our denominator. I'm putting that in parentheses every single time because you can't divide by 0, so you must parenthesize it. Three halves. Also keeping in mind that that is 1 1/2. All right, so step 1's done. Now we can do the interval step. So we're going to go negative infinity to our smallest value, 3 halves, parenthesis, parenthesis. Then 3 halves to 7/3. Both of them get parentheses. And then 7/3 to infinity. Pick a point less than 1 1/2. Between 1 1/2 and 2 1/3. And then 2 1/3 to infinity, I'm just going with 3. So the version of this inequality that I feel most comfortable plugging into is this one. This is the plug-in version. All right, I'm just having a little fun right now with that. That's the place where we want to plug into. This one right here. So I'm plugging in 0. 0 times negative 3. 0 plus 7, positive. Divided by 2 times 0. 0 minus 3, negative. Positive over negative is a negative. That is not greater than 0. Get out of here. Okay, plug in the 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 plus 7. Positive number. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is positive 1. All right, we got a positive. Keep it. So this is going to be a part of our solution set, so I'm writing it down here in anticipation of the final answer. And then you can plug 3 in here. 3 times negative 3, negative 9 plus 7. That's a negative number. 3 times 2 is 6 minus 3 is positive, and that yields a negative solution. There's our answer. Whew. These are kind of involved problems, right? Somewhere between a sprint and a distance, I think. Distance event. All right, 47. We're going to follow the same approach we did here. We want to get 0 by itself. So I'm going to subtract these from both sides. So I'm going to do a little cheat here because I got a marker board. Subtract it from both sides. Yeah, I know you guys with the pencil and paper are jealous out there. Don't be. So we've got 2 variable expressions for our denominators. Just multiply each fraction by basically the denominator. I don't want to say cross multiplication, but that's kind of what's going on. So this little fraction needs an x minus 1. And that little fraction needs a 3x minus 5. So that gave us a single denominator of 3x minus 5 times x minus 1. The top is going to be x times x, which is x squared. Oh boy. Whew. We got an x squared in the top now. X times negative 1. This negative needs to be distributed all the way through, so negative 6x. And then negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. This is all less than or equal to 0. So this is x squared minus 7x plus 10. It looks like this one's factorable. It looks like we could say a negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. Negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7x. And then the quick version of that factoring would just be like x minus 5, x minus 2. Wow. So yeah, we got a lot going on. 1, little 2, little 3, little 4, critical numbers. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of circle this. It's not my final answer, but it's just pointing out, it's highlighting the fact that this is my plug-in version. Plug in here to test my critical numbers. So what are those critical numbers? Well, let's explore the space over here. Number 49 we'll figure it out. So our critical numbers, let's talk numerator first. And because it's an equal to, we can put brackets around it. So you have x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0 for the numerator. Add 5 to both sides here. Add 2 to both sides there, and you get x equals 5 and x equals 2. Those are bracketed critical numbers. for the denominator, oh, wait, hold on. I got to keep my visual stuff straight here. The denominator would have parentheses, because they always do. Set these two equal to 0. Add 5, divide by 3. Add 1. Okay, so we've got x equals 5, x equals 2, x equals 5/3 from over here, and x equals 1. So four different critical numbers creates, I think, 5 different intervals. So let's do that. Negative infinity would be our start. Now, what's the smallest number of this outfit? That's 1 2/3. So 1. Does the 1 get a bracket? No, it's a denominator. Parenthesis. Our next stop on this journey will be 5/3 because that is 1 2/3. It also gets a parenthesis because it was a denominator critical number. 5/3 will take a stop at 2, bracketed because of the equal to, and then it'll go 2 to infinity. So 0 is less than 1. Between 1 and 1 2/3 would be 1.5. Between 1 2/3 and 2, you could pick 1 3/4. And then 2 to infinity, pick a 3. So I think I just picked a really challenging problem just to show you guys, like, all right, here's how I would work my way through it. So plugging in 0. 0 minus 5, negative. 0 minus 2 times a negative over 0 times 3, 0 minus 5, negative. 0 minus 1, negative. Which is a positive over a positive, which is positive. Oh, we need less than or equal to 0. Sorry. All right, try 1.5. 1.5 minus 5, negative. 1.5 minus 2, also negative. This is where it gets a little tricky. 1.5 times 3 is going to be 4.5. Minus 5, still negative. And then 1.5 minus 1 would be positive. So that's a positive divided by a negative. Negative, that's what we want. Nice. So this will be a part of our final answer. And I kind of ran out of room to kind of get that started. Perhaps I should just say our final answer. Where do we go? Let's just go below. So this is my start for the final answer. Right there. That one for sure is in there. All right, try 1 3/4. This is where things get... it's nice where you have some good mental math skills. 1 3/4 minus 5. That's a negative. 1 3/4 minus 2. Also a negative. 3 times 1 3/4 would be 3 plus 2 1/4. It's 5 1/4. 5 1/4 minus 5 is a positive. And then 1 3/4 minus 1 is also a positive. So positive over positive is positive. I am positive this solution doesn't work because it's less than, it's not negative. Okay. You guys start to notice that there's usually patterns here? It'll go minus plus minus plus or plus minus plus minus. That usually happens. Like, we can be pretty confident that the next one will be minus, but we got to check because sometimes they don't work. All right, plug into 3. Negative, positive. Positive, positive. So it's a negative divided by a positive, which is negative, which is what we want. So it's 1 to 5/3 in union with 2, including 2, to infinity. All right, so I think I might just leave the video at that. Number 49 wasn't included on the original notes, so I'll show that in class, okay? All right.